I'm going to make a statement before we go into public. Not tolerating any use of negative behavior. We don't do that from the mayor. I'm not going to tolerate it from patients. Do you agree?
I agree.
Lorraine, are you ready?
I am.
Mr. Russo, are you ready? Ms. Leo, are you ready?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Thank you. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Newton Town Council meeting of March 25th. If everyone can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you to everyone who's in attendance tonight. It's always nice to see a packed room. Lorraine, if you could do the roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Here.
Mrs. Diglio? Here. Mr. Flynn?
Here.
Mr. Schlaffer? Mayor Laffois?
Here. So obviously we have Deputy Mayor Flynn on the phone and Councilman Schlaffer who emailed ahead to be excused. All right, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this regular meeting was given to the 2 newspapers of record and posted on the official bulletin board on January 4th, 2019. In your documents, you have approval of minutes for the March 11th regular meeting. Just to make a note, I have watched the video of the meeting and also read the minutes. So I'm up to date. Any changes, additions, deletions, amendments?
There were minor changes that I called in this morning.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for March 11th.
I will make the motion to approve the March 11th, 2019 regular meeting with the changes called in this morning.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 11th by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Councilman Dixon. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mayor Laffois?
Yes. All right. So we'll start the meeting out with 2 proclamations that we have. So I will read the first one. And this is one that we've been doing the last number of years, and I know we have members here from the National Donate Organization that we'll be recognizing, but let me read this proclamation into the record. Office of the Mayor, Newton, New Jersey, Proclamation National Donate Life Month, April 2019. Whereas realizing the urgent need for organ and tissue donors across the nation, the National Donate Life Month observance promotes a greater understanding about the life-saving benefits of donation and transplantation. Moreover, the need is increasing. New Jersey Sharing Network is committed to addressing the need through increased awareness, and whereas the transplantation of organs and tissue is a miracle of modern medicine made possible through the compassion of organ and tissue donors, enabling surgeons to save thousands of lives every year, 1 organ donor can save 8 lives, and 1 tissue donor can restore health to over 75 others. People of all ages, ethnic backgrounds, and religions are touched by donation and by the serious shortage of organ donors that exists. Currently, there are nearly 4,000 New Jersey residents and 115,000 Americans awaiting life-saving transplant operations. And whereas every capable person should support this vital effort by registering as an organ and tissue donor, making their family aware of the wishes, and being willing to give the precious gift of health, sight, and life to people in need. And whereas registering as an organ and tissue donor at a local motor vehicle agency or online at www.njsharingnetwork.org signifies our fundamental human responsibility to help others. And whereas the Town Council of the Town of Newton recognized National Donate Life Month as an opportunity to join New Jersey Sharing Network in its life-saving mission, now therefore we, the Mayor and the Town Council of the Town of Newton, do hereby proclaim April 2019 as Donate Life Month in the Town of Newton, New Jersey, and urge all residents to join us in promoting organ and tissue donor education throughout National Donate Life Month. So I'll welcome members from New Jersey Sharing Network up for a picture. You may recall, this is a personal commitment to me. As you know, my brother passed away 4 years ago, and he is listed on the walls over at New Jersey Sharing Network. A little closer to home, I received a phone call this morning. A friend of my son's turned 23 a couple weeks ago and was in a serious car accident 6 weeks ago, and it looks like they'll be taking him off of life support today, and he's also an organ and tissue donor, so they're making those matches today. And so I do this read this proclamation for Tyler Rodimer today and for everyone else who is listed on the beautiful walls over in your office.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the work that you all are doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good. So here's the proclamation, and I'll turn it back. Okay, so we're happy and proud to do that, and you have a...
Yes, I do,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank the town council for this beautiful proclamation, because what these types of events do is to help raise awareness for organ and tissue donation for the 115,000 people that I mentioned that are waiting nationwide, 4,000 people in the state of New Jersey, 39 people right here in Sussex County, and 2 people right here in the town of Dayton are waiting for life-saving transplants. So any event that we can get the word out, raise awareness, we will seize that opportunity. We also want to thank you. Some of you may have noticed the ribbons went up today, blue and green ribbons. Blue and green are the colors for organ donation, you might have noticed. So the ribbons are up throughout the town on Spring Street, and there are little cards that are attached to the ribbons that tell you what the ribbons represent, and driving people to our website to learn more about organ tissue donation or to register to be an organ donor if they are so inclined and so interested. So we thank the township for letting us do that as well. So before I read my remarks, Dana is a Newton Township resident, and she is also a heart recipient. So we are really, we have a very active group right here in Sussex County, the Sussex County Donate Life Group, that I work for the Sharing Network. I'm a hospital services manager. I'm Kelly Von Ventry, I should have said that first, I apologize. For the Sharing Network, and then I also manage the Donate Life Group, which is a group of volunteers that work really diligently to raise awareness, and they do a tremendous job. We have groups located throughout the state, and this particular group happens to be #1 in the state with the amount of activity that they do. So Dana is living, breathing proof that organ and tissue donation works. So I'd just like Dana to share a few words.
6.5 years ago, I waited 4 months in the hospital, living there every day, waiting for a heart to come. I was blessed with a wonderful heart that has done wonders and got me back to my life here in Newton. I live here, I work here. I have to say, everyone has been nothing but supportive. They held my job for me at my work at the Homestead Rehabilitation and Healthcare Center. So there are wonderful people out there. Please donate to get people like myself back to the regular lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Dana. So without the organ donor, there is no story, there is no hope, and there is no transplant. But when there is an organ donor, life springs from death, sorrow turns to hope, and a terrible loss becomes a gift. And Dana is living proof of that. And I'm just going to close with a poem called To Remember Me by Robert Test that really captures the essence and the beauty of organ donation. At a certain moment, a doctor will determine that my brain has ceased to function and that for all intents and purposes, my life has stopped. When that happens, do not attempt to instill artificial life into my body by the use of a machine. And do not call this my deathbed. Call it my bed of life, and let my body be taken from it to help others lead fuller lives. Give my sight to a man who has never seen a sunrise, a baby's face, or love in the eyes of a woman. Give my heart to a person whose own heart has caused nothing but endless days of pain. Give my blood to the teenager who has been pulled from the wreckage of his car so that he may live to see his grandchildren play. Give my kidneys to one who depends on a machine to exist from week to week. Take my bones, take every muscle, every fiber and nerve in my body, and find a way to make a crippled child walk. Explore every corner of my brain, take my cells if necessary, and let them grow so that someday a speechless boy will shout at the crack of a bat, and a deaf girl will hear the sound ring against her windows. Burn what is left of me and scatter the ashes to the wind to help the flowers grow. If you must bury something, let it be my faults, my weaknesses, and my prejudice against my fellow man. Give my soul to God, and if by chance you wish to remember me, do it with a kind deed or word to someone who needs you. If you do all I have asked, I will live forever. So thank you so much, and we appreciate your support, and we'll see you next year.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So our next proclamation is for our very own Nancy Woods. Office of the Mayor, Newton, New Jersey, proclamation for Nancy Woods. Whereas Nancy Woods has been a lifelong resident of Sussex County, born at Newton Memorial Hospital, grew up in Green Township, and attended Newton High School. And whereas she and her husband Robert moved to Newton in 1967 and raised their two children, Kimberly and Gregory, and for over 50 years has been an integral part of the community. And whereas after receiving her bachelor's degree from Trenton State College, Nancy taught for several years in the Andover and Frieden Township school districts before deciding to dedicate herself to being a full-time mother. And whereas during this time she spent many hours volunteering her time and services to numerous organizations, including the Yellow Frame Church and Newton Memorial Hospital. And whereas Nancy, along with Margaret Woods, opened Abigail's on Spring Street in 1984. And while running Abigail's, Nancy became very active in the Greater Newton Chamber of Commerce, serving on almost every committee and helping at every function over the years. And whereas upon closing Abigail's after 23 years, she retired and became the Greater Newton Chamber of Commerce's executive director, a position that she held for 12 years. Now therefore, we, the mayor and town council of the town of Newton, hereby proclaim our appreciation and gratitude to Nancy Woods and commend her for her dedication and service to our community. And we recognize her efforts by hereby naming her 2019 Citizen of the Year. Nancy?
I'm sorry to have missed the dinner last week. Thank you. Beautiful. And here's a copy of the proclamation. And your name has been added to a plaque that's here at Town Hall as the Town of Newton Citizen of the Year, 2019. Nancy Woods. We'll take a couple of pictures. I'm gonna come up and get a picture of her? Kim will send you one.
I will.
I'll send you one.
Oh, you should take a picture.
No, come on. Partnership. Nancy, I know that you've had lots of accolades over the last couple of years, but I just want to add my appreciation to everything that you've done on behalf of the town and the greater area. I know your family's got a lifetime of legacy to the community for service and having businesses in town, and you guys are always the first to be called upon. Right? You ask a busy person to do something else that gets done, right? But, you know, I know that you're not going to be far, and the chamber's already missing you from what I understand, but, you know, we couldn't pick a person this year more than you to deserve this recognition. Everything that you've done, you know, and what the proclamation doesn't say is that most of everything that you've contributed has all been in the spirit of volunteerism, right? So it takes lots of volunteers to make things happen, and it's not only been you and your family, but you've encouraged others and led others along into volunteerism on behalf of the town and for the town. So we can't thank you enough, and we know you're not going far.
We're not going
Okay.
far.
All right.
No, we're not. Thank you much.
You're welcome.
Thank you all.
So at this point in the meeting, the town council welcomes comments from any member of the public on any topic to help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit the opportunity for anyone who wishes to be heard. Speakers are asked to take one turn at the microphone and please limit their comments to 5 minutes. The clerk will keep time. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy and email a copy to the clerk's office after making your comments so it may be properly reflected in the minutes. And just as a point of order, I'm going to say this before we open the comments. I did watch the last council meeting, and as much as the council tries to respect everyone who comes to the microphone, I would also ask that anyone that does come to the microphone is also respectful and uses appropriate language and behavior when they're at the microphone. So having said that, let's open it to the public.
I will email for my daughter. She's only 7, and so she did not do a prepared statement.
Okay.
There was a last minute thing. She's been overhearing me speak and wanted to come and speak on her behalf.
Okay.
My name is Hannah Harrison. I live on Limel Ave. I'm very upset that the town wants to close the pool. I play lots of sports. If the pool closes, I will not be able to practice my swimming and get my daily exercise in many days. It is way too hot to play outside. I don't understand why the town lets the pool get as bad as it did. If the pool does not open, what are kids going to do? Watch TV? That is not healthy. Mr. Rousseau has said the pool is not making money. Is money more important to you than my hope of the town you manage? I care for my town and love my town and want Newton to be the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah.
Hi, my name is Tracy Paparella from 56 Halsted. I have a prepared statement, and John McGuigan is ready to continue for me because I know I will run out of time. I came across an interesting quote today. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. The council has said that they want to make data-driven decisions in the best interest of taxpayers' money. Your decision to close the pool was not driven by relevant data, but rather ambiguous data. If you haven't watched the budget meeting from February, you should. The council can learn a lot about the workings in this town by watching the replay. Data, 2 bar graphs that I was fortunate enough to get a copy of membership purchases for the last 2 years were given as proof of declining membership to substantiate the claim that the pool repairs are a lot of money for so few people. The real number of pool visitors is not discussed. The 6,000 day visitors and the $30,000 of corresponding revenue is glossed over. The town manager is quoted in the paper in his February letter to the Friends of Newton that the town was faced with a $250,000 estimate to repair or fix several issues just to open the pool this coming year. This is not true. I am told there is no real estimate just a ballpark figure. Mr. Russo further states that total expenses on the pool have been between $80,000 and $100,000 per year, but that is actually the capital improvements done in 2005 and 2006, amortized out to lead everyone to believe that the pool is a money pit. Again, a loss of $10,000 to $40,000 a year is presented to the town as if the pool is a drain on the town instead of a revenue maker. The fact is the pool helps sustain itself with the revenue it generates each summer. The real cost of the pool does not surpass the amount budgeted for the pool. The real cost is normally under budget each year, since the $60,000 in revenue offsets the $70,000 to $80,000 budgeted each year. Council was told that the pool lost 100,000 gallons of water in 3 weeks last summer. Sounds like a lot of water. On average, a pool evaporates 1/2 to 3/4 inches of water a day. Based on the size of our pool, evaporation would claim thousands of gallons of water per day. We are surely losing additional water from the known leak, but this 100,000 gallon number is again used to paint the pool as a money pit. Damages reported in the paper and in the manager's February letter are not new. It is a known secret that the pool has been leaking and losing water for years. Ask your veteran council members. There has been an unrepaired leak as long as some council members have been serving our town. Due to this leak, the pool has been drained and left empty each winter, contributing to the current condition of the pool. Our deputy mayor and our DPW questioned the practice of draining the pool, but it is now known that the pool is drained because of the leak. The broken hydrostatic valve in the main drain causing the leak is a $25 part. Years of disrepair and subsequent damage could have been avoided had you consulted someone who knows how to maintain and repair pools. The pool is drained each year due to this leak, leaving the walls unprotected against the freezing and expanding ground on the outside, and the outside elements 9 months a year. A call to our county's leading expert in pool maintenance and management, Vernon Pools and Spa, confirmed that plaster needs to stay wet. An outside pool needs to keep water in it over the winter. We used to do this and cover the pool each winter. How long have we knowingly emptied the pool and contributed to its damage? How much water have we purposely drained over the years because we can't fix a $25 leak? How much money could we have saved had we properly repaired and maintained the pool years ago? Another item of repair in the paper and in the letter is a severed electrical line serving the exterior lighting. Again, this is not new damage as presented last month. This has been known since at least 2014, when I and the swim team were falsely accused of severing it. Instead of doing these repairs when first discovered or seeking expert advice regarding the maintenance of an outdoor pool, or even picking up the phone and getting a real estimate, you decided to spend $30,000 of taxpayer money for a feasibility study. $30,000 that could have been used toward repairs. We were told this study or any repairs could not be done in the fall because there wasn't any money in the budget to fund either. You said you viewed photos of the damage last fall but did not plan to repair them. I am told that the feasibility study was first suggested at and approved at the budget meeting, not last fall as was conveyed to the public. I hear the pool has not been a top priority of the managers. What do you think the feasibility study is going to do for our pool? The pool has been the centerpiece of our town for the last 50 years, as is evidenced from just this month's annual report from 2018, highlighting all of the great things that we do at the pool. Just last summer, Mayor LaFois, you extolled about the beautiful rec services that draw our town and others to Newton. Two years ago, less than 2 years ago, we accepted a $20,000 donation from McKee Foods. What is our reality here? We boast about our pool on an annual basis and accept donations for improvements. Then we turn around and say the pool only serves 100 people. It's a money pit and too expensive to open. It's my time? All right. Mr. McQuiggan will finish. Thank you.
I'm John McGuigan. I live at 10 Evans Avenue, and I'll continue. Thank you. Between 2017 and 2018, the Newton Pool served nearly 12,500 people between memberships, daily passes, and the swim team. More than 6,000 people each summer enjoyed the pool. Each day, visitors signed a logbook before entering the pool. Have you reviewed a copy of that which would refute the premise that the pool serves only 100 members? Additional data that you should consider is as follows. We have 1,534 students in our schools. 33% are economically disadvantaged. More than 12% of our population live below the poverty line. Many of our residents do not drive, as was taken into consideration by our new rec supervisor in planning a joint family event with Andover. A lot of people have nowhere else to go in the summer. Kids walk to the pool every day for supervised fun at the Newton Pool. What are they going to do without the pool? They will find surely some other way to have fun, which may impose another cost to our town. It was incorrectly stated at the last council meeting that the pool is just an amenity, not a necessity. It is a very real necessity to the kids in this town. The pool traditionally opens the day school lets out for the summer. Hundreds of kids look forward to summer because of the Newton Pool. The swim team is fine. It has an outpouring of support from other communities in the county and has found water. The swim team will swim this summer. All those other kids, more than 1,400, won't. It's them that we worry about. In an effort to help find the way to best serve the town, Tracy contacted Vernon Pool and Spa, a leading expert on pool maintenance in our area. They service many outdoor residential and commercial pools, including the one at Picatinny Arsenal. They know how to repair and maintain pools. They have seen the same photos of damage as you have. They estimate that to go down to the bare bones of the pool, coping, plaster, tile expansion joints, and sandblasting would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $140,000 to do everything the right way to redo the pool without cutting corners. $140,000, not $250,000 as estimated to the town last month. We have $140,000 of damage that looks to be a mixture of improper maintenance, but apparently some improper installation in the first place. Vernon Pools recommends that the town seek counsel with the water chemistry, proper plaster, pool maintenance experts. Have we gotten expert advice or guidance on the care of the pool? They have offered this free counsel as they recognize what an important asset and necessity the pool is to our community. Tracy has provided you a copy of their correspondence and contact information. There is one last thing that requires correction. At the last council meeting, when it was stated and reported that the pool was, built on a landfill. That is not true and needs to be corrected. Thank you.
Melissa Costello, 16 Halsted Street. I want to apologize for my passion at the last meeting, but I really care about this town, and when someone blatantly does wrong to this town, it really angers me. At the last meeting, it was asked why the, sorry, I have to calm myself down, I don't want to lose it again. At the last meeting, it was told to us that $200,000 was going to be spent to replace the roof on Town Hall, because the expected life expectancy of the roof was to be over soon, and they didn't want any leaks to occur or anything like that. Mr. Schaffner said there are no present leaks and there are no present problems, that it was just the lifetime of the roof is about done. So why wasn't that same consideration put into the pool? Why was there patch jobs? Why was there improper maintenance? Why weren't the same considerations given to our children as are being given to Town Hall? $200,000 to fix a roof that has no problem? Yet we patch the pool and patch the pool. I grew up in a 150-year house. If you don't take care of things over a certain amount of time period every year and do what you're supposed to do, yes, things get to a point where they cost a lot of money. Why did it get to that point? Who are we? We are the boss, right? We're the ones that are supposed to be the boss of the town council, the people of Newton. Who are we supposed to hold responsible for that? Because someone blatantly didn't do the right thing from the beginning. Does anyone have an answer for that?
I think we usually respond after all comments are done.
Thank you.
Ralph Porter, 12 Pine Street. A lot of things about the pool going on. I'm not a pool expert. I've been constructing for 40 years. I do no construction. There was mistakes made on this pool. I wish there was a way to hold who made the mistakes accountable. I guess that's too far gone now, even though what went in the past, we're too far away from the guarantee point to hold them responsible. I'm glad they're doing some geotechnical stuff underneath, see what's going on. There's slate underneath there. I don't know about land, but I know it's slate, still on slate shelf there. So he has to find out what the water is doing from the other side of the hill, coming down the hill. I understand that. To open the pool this year, to be like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg, you can't do that. But I wish the town would work faster to get it done so it could be open next year. The kids do need something to do. The adults need something to do here. And it's very important. And like I said last month, we're getting another fire truck now. How old are our fire trucks? I asked that last month, and nobody answered me on that. Why are we getting another fire truck when they're not even, previous fire truck is 26 years old? And ours are not, I don't think the oldest one's even 8 years old, I don't think. I'm not sure, but I think it's about 8 years old. That's crazy. At $750,000 a truck, that can fix the pool.
Hi, Jessica Agner, 16 Windsor Drive. I apologize if you've discussed this previously. I wasn't at the last meeting. I just wanted to know if you were doing helping neighbors this spring, and if you had picked out a date, and if you're going to disseminate the information out to your groups through town. Thank you.
Good evening, Thomas Donnelly, my fiance Rowland Castleman. We reside on the property at 2 Palmer Street. We've been discussing with the DPW since September of last year. We have an issue, major issue with the water coming onto our property and flooding our house. I have talked to Ken by email. I've had Adam at the house a few times. They were supposed to deal with this issue. The water comes down New Hampshire Street, floods the entire front of our property, and now is coming into the house because there's a grading issue. I've gone over with them. I am in the excavating business. I work for an excavating company, but unfortunately it's in the town right of way, and we can't do that. So I don't know if there's anything you can do. They've said several times they were supposed to come out, and I'm just getting a runaround. So I don't know if there's anything the council can do to help us solve this problem. Especially now we put our house on the market, and every time we have open house, the whole front of the house is flooded. So that's not good for the sale of our house. So if there's anything the council can do, we'd really appreciate it. I have pictures if you'd like to see them.
And you said the address is 2 Palmer?
2 Palmer Street, yes.
Anyone else at this time?
Hello, Maureen Snellen, 30 Plainfield Avenue in Newton. And a question has been asked of me of why there was no money in the budget for this year for the pool. You know, I believe the budget was looked at and talked about, and no monies have been allotted other than the study for this year's budget for the pool. So even once the study's done, where's the money to repair it? Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll move on to council manager reports. Yeah, Mr. Russo, can you go first?
Yeah, Maureen, I appreciate the question, and this is for all the people that spoke about the pool. In the 2019 current budget, there's $20,000 for the engineering study, there's the $10,000 for the geotechnical, and, you know, I think we're all trying to be optimistic that, I think the one estimate, right, was $140,000, that if a reasonable estimate is provided for capital improvements for the pool, there are funds in the budget for a down payment to do the capital improvements for the pool. What is required by New Jersey law is 5% down. So as long as we have the 5% cash down payment, we can implement the capital improvements for the pool. So just hypothetically, if it's a $200,000 improvement, we need $10,000. We have that in our capital CIF account. Council would do a resolution, we would do a capital budget amendment, and basically add the actual cost of the project into the budget. It's very easy to do the resolution and the ordinance. You know, you guys have sat through ordinances and resolutions But we do have the down payment to do the improvements for the pool, because the goal would be to open it next year. We don't want to see this turn into a 24-month delta. The goal would be to do the improvements so that we could open next year. So that's on the issue of the pool, so I appreciate the questions and the comments. Mr. Donnelly, I'll get back to you on 2 Palmer. I'll talk to Kenny and Adam and see where we're at with that, and if I have to, I'll pull in Harold and Corey from our engineering office, and then Jessica, I'll email you the dates, but we already have everything ramped up, so yeah, we're definitely doing Neighbors Helping Neighbors again this year. So, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Flynn for conducting the last meeting of March 11th in my absence. So thank you, Dan, for doing that. Also want to wish Dan and his wife, Erin, many congratulations and lots of years of health and happiness on their newborn baby girl, Nora, who was born on the 21st. Everyone's happy and healthy home. So we know that you're a busy new dad, first-time dad, Dan. So we're wishing you congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yesterday, Councilwoman Diglio and I attended the senior luncheon at Newton High School. There were about 60 seniors in attendance. And then following the luncheon, they went and saw the Newton High School play Newsies. It's always a great event. Both senior luncheons, the one that we do in the fall and one that we do in the spring, a wonderful opportunity to get our seniors out at the high school interacting with Miss Newton, Little Mr. Newton, Little Miss Newton, the council, volunteers from the Rec Commission, students from the high school, oftentimes the National Honor Society. Yesterday we had volunteers from PSS, I think it was. The college. That were there helping to serve a great lunch, helping to everybody to the show. Many of the seniors always give accolades to the Rec Commission to the town for hosting those events each year. I know it was Michelle's first luncheon that she was hosting, and she did a great job. So if you could pass that on to her, Tom, as well, that would be appreciated. It wasn't first parade that I've missed, but I heard that it was great, despite a little bit of cold weather. I'm sure Sandy and Councilman Dixon will touch on that, but the coverage in the newspapers was great, and I know that the town was well on display, so thank you. And then if anybody has, I don't know if anybody attended the Sussex County League of Municipalities meeting last Thursday night. Sandy, you did, looking for an update on that, and that's all I have for now. Deputy Mayor Flynn, do you have any comments?
Not at this time. No, everything's no, it's fine.
Okay. Councilwoman Diglio?
Okay, I actually have quite a few. On 3/12, I attended the Chamber Board meeting, and the new officers have been elected. The Social Committee is organizing the bi-monthly meeting and greets, and the first was held on 3/14 at O'Reilly's. The committee is also busy planning a murder mystery night for November. The Parade Committee will be meeting at the American Legion on April 5th to continue work on the Memorial Day Parade. On 3/13, I attended the 100 Women Project Breakfast with Lorraine Reed at Sussex County Community College. Frances Blanco from DCF was the guest speaker and gave a history of women's fight for their rights and what the DCF is doing presently to protect rights. That night, I also attended the Newton First Aid Squad meeting, and they were talking about the general business of the Newton First Aid Squad and the parade that was going to be coming up. 3/16, I attended the St. Patrick's Day Parade along with Councilman Dan, Matt, and Jason. Also with us again was Municipal Clerk Lorraine Reed. The parade was a huge success, and I am very proud that this town hosted each year. And I know Mary Harrington, who chairs it, made a comment stating that she was very thankful that the town will host it each year for them. On 3/18, I was at the Historic Preservation meeting, where there was a presentation of the plans for the Bula site on Spring Street. The building that is being planned is going to be an asset to the town. It is a beautiful-looking building. 3/20, I attended the Planning Board meeting, and there was a review by Sussex County Community College on the planned addition to the Performing Arts Center, which will include a lecture hall, classrooms, and a smaller theater area. There also was a discussion on the Thor Labs project, which will be taking place on the old Moose Lodge area. The building will be 150,000 square feet. There will be many parking, and yes, they have reserved the area for the for the parades. 321, I attended the Sussex County Chamber breakfast at Friendly's, where all the attendees get the opportunity to present their businesses, organizations, and in my case, I get to give a brief discussion on the happenings in this town. Also on the 21st, I attended the Sussex County League of Municipalities, and a presentation on the pros and cons, well, actually the cons of marijuana legislation was given. I believe the vote was taken today, but I'm not sure what the results of the vote was today.
I think they carried the vote. No, they didn't vote.
They didn't vote? Okay. It was very interesting facts on the bill being presented for the vote, and there were changes that were introduced to the bill that people were not aware of. A lot of people think that if the bill passes, they'll be allowed to grow their own marijuana. Well, actually, they're not going to be able to. So there's interesting things going on, that changes that constantly are taking place. So it'll be interesting to see how the final bill gets passed. And
If it gets passed.
If it gets passed. Actually, right now, the vote is more against than passing it for many, many reasons. Particularly, they're looking at what has happened in Colorado, in Oregon, and in the other states. There's a handful of states that have passed it, and they're looking at what is actually going on in those states. Insurance increases, crime increases. They're looking at a lot of that right now. And other than that, yesterday, we were at the senior luncheon.
Councilwoman Diglio, thank you for covering a lot of those meetings and those events on behalf of the council. The planning board's very busy right now.
Yes, it is.
So in addition to the business that was moved at the last meeting, I know the Thor Labs project still has additional testimony and will be carried to the next meeting, as well as lots of conversation about what John Questley is going to be doing over on Spring Street. So good things happening, good things coming. Thanks for covering in the last couple of weeks. Councilman Dixon?
Alrighty. On March 12th, I attended the Board of Ed meeting. Board of Ed this year is faced with a $2 million deficit. Despite receiving more state aid than initially anticipated, cuts are going to have to be made. Several major issues that have created this deficit include sending district tuition being down over $400,000 and an increase in health insurance premiums of over $600,000. 14% increase in health insurance at a utilization rate of 100%. Despite a spending freeze and non-personnel cuts, the Board of Ed is still faced with a shortfall. It was proposed that the preliminary budget reductions of 8 teacher positions, 7 at the high school, 1 at Miriam. In addition, there was going to be 6 assistant positions district-wide, 2.5 non-instructional positions, 1 central office position at the board office, 1 maintenance position, and moving a custodian over to preschool since that's different funding. They're able to move some things around like that. These cuts were suggested with $200,000 of the state aid coming back to the taxpayer. The board voted down that preliminary budget, deciding to keep the $200,000 in the budget so they could limit some of the instructional staff cuts. So Dr. Green's going to go back to the school administrators, see the determination of where they think that would be best for the students and instructional so that they're not losing some of the instructional value. And then tomorrow night, they're going to...
That's what I was just asking. The next Board of Ed meeting is tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, and they're going to vote on the new findings. The St. Patrick's Day Parade was great turnout. I actually saw pictures from last year, and I was blown away with how much bigger the crowds were lined up down Spring Street. It was fantastic. I had a nice breakfast at the Barrel House before the parade, lunch after at O'Reilly's. I want to thank all the businesses. They really did a great job. All the offers, all the things that they're doing, really getting involved. It really creates a great environment. I think that's what we're seeing when we see, larger turnouts. I want to thank the parade organizers and all the participants who came. And thank you to the police and the DPW, because without them, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So.
While I was overseas, I saw a lot of promotion on our Instagram page and just some cross promotion between businesses, promoting each other's specials and things like that. So
it's fantastic.
That's all good. Anything else, Mr. Dixon?
That's all I have for right now.
Okay, Mr. Russo,
Just a
couple things. One, Nancy, congratulations. It's been a pleasure working with you and your family all of these years, and I want to wish you well in retirement and say God bless the two of you for all that you've done for the town. Technical review we had last week. We did go over the Boula's building, 27 apartments, high-end commercial space, really nice, really beautiful design. So we're looking forward to that being heard before the planning board in May. Planning board, Sandy mentioned, we had Thor Labs. I think we're about 80% done with the application, so that'll continue to the next meeting. We did have a meeting on Friday with the DOT to discuss the water issues that we've been having on Route 94. I want to thank Senator Orojo's office for helping coordinate that meeting with 3 representatives from DOT, so we'll see if we get any traction based on that meeting. It was very productive. And this Thursday, we have the Sussex County Chamber Dinner. It's awards night, and there's lots of new businesses, individuals, and companies that are nominated. Councilwoman Diglio, myself, Kimberly Williams will be attending, so we look forward to seeing some of the Newton businesses win some of the awards at the Chamber Dinner on Thursday. That's all.
And I think they're recognizing former longtime Newton philanthropist and resident Charlie Tice as well, so that'll be nice for Charlie. Nancy, say congratulations again. Funny because Tom mentioned that you're retiring. I feel like you've retired like 3 times, right, from careers? Right, I know. So like I said, you're not going anywhere, and we'll continue to see you around. Matt, you'll keep us posted after tomorrow's Board of Ed meeting, as you normally do. Yeah, okay. Good. Any other council or manager comments or reports? All right, we'll move on to ordinances. We have a second reading and public hearing regarding ordinance 2019-1, an ordinance amending section 240-3:C regarding site plan approval and section 320:34 revising generator regulations in the town of Newton. We received no comments back from the planning board, and the planning board found that it was not inconsistent with the master plan. Did I get that right? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to open the hearing to the public.
I will make a motion to open the hearing to the public.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any comments from the public regarding this ordinance? Okay, seeing none, entertain a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close to the public.
I will second that.
I have a motion to close the hearing by Councilman Dixon and a second by Councilwoman Diglio. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so do I have a motion to act on the ordinance?
I will make a motion to act on ordinance 2019-1.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Councilman Dixon to act on ordinance 2019-1. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mr. Schlaffer? Mayor LaBeouf?
Yes. All right, under old business, we have resolution 86-2019 authorizing the town of Newton to enter into a shared services agreement with the county of Sussex, New Jersey, related to a pedestrian warning beacon along County Route 519. We received some additional backup paperwork, and based on questions from the last meeting, there was information that was presented to the council. Have all questions been answered at this point?
To a degree, yes, but I still feel that it is not right for the Newton taxpayers to have to spend $10,000 or give $10,000 to the county to put this up, especially since we already pay county taxes yearly, and I know we're going to be providing police in order for them to do the work. I have a problem with us having to give them money to put something up, especially since they exist in this town completely tax exempt.
I had a question in regards to some of the information we received, that there's going to be some major work done in that area. I was just wondering, do we have any idea what that entails and when that would occur? Also, I was a little bit concerned when I saw where it's going to be, that kids from Brookside are going to start using that as a cross instead of going down to where the crossing guard is. So I'm a little worried about the fact that there'll be no crossing guard there, that kids might start to use that, and that won't be very safe for them. And Sandy's point about the tax exemptions and the ratables in the town, and how the county is tax exempt. When I ran for council, I brought up the idea of going to the freeholders and seeing if we could work out some kind of agreement with them. And I stand by that, and I just want to propose the idea of reaching out to them and seeing if they would have a joint meeting with us in regards to that issue.
Deputy Mayor Flynn, any?
What's the proposed work to be done on 519 right there? Mill Street. That you referred to, Matt.
Actually, they're going to put up that warning area. They're going to move. There is a crossing area by Hayax, in addition to where they have it at the light. They want to move it down closer to where Brooks is, and they want to put the warning there. And I have to agree, I think it's going to be a little dangerous for children if we're not going to have a crossing guard there, because we already have one at the main corner. But that is the proposed that we have seen so far. I don't know what other work is going to be done.
I'm assuming that a significant amount of people utilize the mid-block crossing before Hayax as opposed to the signalized crossing at the intersection. That would be the warrant for the traffic beacon at the crossing, correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, you're generally not going to redirect people that already habitually cross at that location, because that's what there's a demand there. They're not going to walk all the way down to the intersection, make a right to go to Hayax and up to town when they normally cross at the mid-block crossing. Assuming the mid-block crossing still stays there. So if the mid-block crossing still stays there, then the signalization still needs to exist or needs to be put in place.
That's correct. Because there's a crosswalk now that is not striped brightly, right? It's kind of eroded over time.
Yeah.
And there's no warning sign that there's a crosswalk there. So it's constantly violated when people are trying to cross where people aren't stopping.
I mean, my opinion remains, I remain skeptical why we have to pay the fee for the material to the town of Newton. I know to the county of Sussex. I know we do bear some burden in this, but that being said, the negotiation has been had, and I still think it's not a bad deal for the town of Newton. Especially since the ongoing maintenance is not going to be borne by the town of Newton.
And this has actually been reported in terms of updates and negotiations, et cetera. This has been reported in Chief Richard's monthly reports. I believe that he's been providing to the council in terms of updates, providing additional justification on why it's important, particularly for the residents and the children that are there in a high density area, and how they're currently, the behaviors are how they're currently crossing to go over towards the firehouse and over to Hayax. So there's some additional data that was provided there.
I mean, as long as we're not going to install this and then 2 years later the county's going to do like a complete reconstruction of that road area and everything's going to need to get ripped up. I don't know if Matt was saying that that's going to occur or not, but I mean, does anybody have any future plans on that?
Not that I am aware of.
I mean, I don't see any discussion in the agreement about the additional work that you were referencing. It's in the email, right?
It's in the email.
Yeah.
Tom, do we know what additional work that they're planning?
No.
No.
I know that there was discussion, I believe I read somewhere, actually, I believe in the Herald's article about the lack of sidewalk and accessibility that extends beyond that property, so I'm not sure if that's what the county's referring to.
I was wondering if that was what they were referring
It's not clear.
to. It just says county plans to major improvements in that area on their
Right.
dime.
Right. And to their expense, the county
Yeah.
intends to expend the monies on the major improvements on 519.
Okay, so we need to either move on this at this point in time or give a firm no, because, you know, we've already gotten the information that we need on it. You know, I'm in favor of moving it forward. You know, it is a busy intersection, it is a busy area, and there is improved circulation needed. So, you know, that being said, I'd offer a motion if we're going to move it forward.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, are you making that motion then?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Do I have a second? I will second the motion then. Can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Dixon?
No.
Mrs. Diglio?
I want to vote no, but I will vote yes to move it forward to protect the children.
Mr. Flynn?
Yeah.
Mayor LaFois?
Yes. I'm just making some notes. Okay. Next up, we have the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the town council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Before Tom does a debrief on the consent agenda items, are there any that need to be removed for further discussion or clarification? Okay, Tom, can you recap?
Sure. Resolution 90 appoints Adam Vo as recycling coordinator. We have a contract to the Paul Corporation at 91. 92 is a release of a performance bond. 93 designates officials to sign checks for court, which is the consolidated court. We have Resolution 94 is the compensation adjustments for non-union employees. Resolution 95 is the self-examination of the budget. 96 and 97 relate to the energy auction we have tomorrow for electricity. That's online. Resolution 98, bills and vouchers. We have transfers 99. We have the geotech engineering services for the pool, Resolution 100. Matt Morris will be the conflict planner for the Boolers project, because Jessica Caldwell's conflicted out. That's Resolution 101. And then we have vacation, sick leave, time payout for Officer Morales, who's retiring. And then we have one resolution off consent.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Make a motion for the consent agenda?
I will second that motion. Oh,
Okay.
I didn't get seconded.
Okay. I have a motion for to move the consent agenda by Councilman Dixon and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yeah.
Mayor LaFois?
Yes. And Tom, if I can just come back to Resolution 86-2019, if we could just ask the county for clarification on their future plans for those major improvements, just so we have some clarity around that, that would be good. Okay, so next up we have Resolution 103-2019, a resolution to accept the certified list of qualifying 2018 Newton Volunteer First Aid Squad LoSAP participants, and obviously we move this off consent, Councilwoman Diglio, so that you can recuse yourself from this resolution. So do I have an offer for Resolution 103-2019?
Make a motion for Resolution 103-2019.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have an offer of Resolution 103-2019 by Councilman Dixon and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio?
Recluse.
Mr. Flynn?
Yeah.
Mayor LaFois?
Yes. Any further discussions? I know we don't have any planned presentations or anything tonight, but any further discussions, Mr. Rousseau? All right. At this point, we'll reopen the meeting to the public. Anyone who wishes to make a comment, please come forward. State your name and address for the record. If you have a prepared statement, provide it to the clerk.
Ralph Porter, 12 times me. I started changing my walking route today, actually the last couple days, and I came upon a couple of things that I thought was quite strange. Number one, Woodridge Drive, Woodridge Court, whatever it's called, off of you know where I'm talking about?
Woodbridge Court.
Woodbridge Court. That was built after 1992. There's no handicap cutouts there. Why? Number two, by the parade route, that you know where the parade comes out, in the future there's going to be a bike path going through Newton, through Newton Town owns the right of way. Am I correct on that? I believe they do, according to all of them. Why is there dishes on there for the local laborers? Are they paying rent? And then, this network dishes on the property, yes. And then number three, this is maybe not really appropriate here, I'm just asking a question. I went to the planning board meeting, last meeting, and there was something that I don't like what I had drawn there. I don't know if I can bring it up here or not. Tell me if I can or not before I do it.
You can bring up any issue you'd like.
They were planning to have the new, I think they call it Quantum Drive or something like that, going through from Spring Street, Sparta Avenue through to Spring Street. If anybody watches traffic at 7:15 to 7:45, Sparta Avenue gets back really bad from people going to the Halsted Street School, especially in the clean weather. That's going to become a cut through that point. I think the town or the zone, or the planning board, whoever, should dictate that they need to have an emergency gate on Spring Street and where it's operated by either indoor only or by alarm. If the alarm goes off, it opens up automatically, so fire trucks and ambulances get in there. Otherwise, if they have to open it manually for another reason, if there's an accident on Sparta Avenue, something that we can open it, but I think it's going to be a very dangerous intersection otherwise, and we'll do something like that.
So, Mr. Porter, regarding the specificity of that question regarding that application, thank you for discussing it here, but it would be most important for you to bring that question up to the planning board.
I don't know if it's appropriate to bring it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Meeting again, so
Yeah, I
Thank you
mean,
very much.
obviously Deputy Mayor Flynn and I both serve on the planning board, so, we'll hear it twice, but for the record, it needs to be presented to the planning board. Yep.
Margaret Baldini, Mary Lee. I also attended the planning board meeting, and I had a couple of questions about the Thor Labs project. They said that it's going to be 3.6 acres. So I was wondering what the impact would be on the individual Newton taxpayer, if you thought that through, because we're losing revenue. They're going to level the Newton Pizza Building and Nova Phase. So I was wondering if this is going to be a taxable, rateable property, or if there's going to be a pilot for it, which is a payment in lieu of taxes. They also mentioned there's going to be greater water and sewer impact. I know we're planning on upgrading that, but what are the financial impacts for the citizens of the town? Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Jessica Agner, 16 Windsor Drive. In light of the question about doing shared services with the county, I was curious to know if we have received any information on when a yield sign will be replaced at the intersection of High Street and Park Place from when that work was done at that triangle. When there was a lot of traffic, that's very dangerous, especially if you're not from around here. Nobody knows who has the right of way there. And then to Rob's point about the traffic backup at Halsted, I'm curious as to why we have a crossing guard and a police officer at the corner of Halsted and Madison Street, but the police officer only sometimes directs traffic. So sometimes you sit in a backup of in between 7 and 10 minutes, and other times you're waved through. So I'm just curious as to why they're both positioned there, but the police officer is not always directing traffic, and sometimes you're sitting there waiting until it's safe, and it's really not safe. You can't see around the hedges, and I don't mean to pick on the police officer in any way, shape, or form, but a lot of times he stands in front of the hedges, which makes it even more difficult to see if traffic is coming from the left when you have to make a right-hand turn. Thank you.
No, you're not going to close it yet.
I didn't even say anything yet.
a word keeps going through my mind, but it's very fuzzy, and the word is transparency. And I want to apply it to the council meeting, this one and the previous one. And the reason I mention that is because we had a lot of people at the last meeting, a lot of people at this meeting, that just had found out about what was going to happen with the pool. That information should have been released not to one or two people, but to the town after the pool closed last summer, sometime before the end of the year, sometime before February of this year. Why was it not? What has happened between the closing of the pool, what was found out? That the public could not be notified, so they could be, their comments could be included on and why the pool closed or didn't close. I appreciate your comments on what I said, or anybody else's comments on what I said. Thank you.
Melissa Costello, 16 Halsted Street. I just wanted to come up here to say that I find it very telling that not one person on the board or Mr. Russo responded to either the child that stood up and spoke about the pool or to anyone else that has done quite a bit of work researching and finding out exactly what was going on with the pool. Not one response. Is it because you don't know what's going on? Or because you just care not to tell the public that what the answers are? Because I see Tracy asking a lot of questions. No one's answering any questions. Why are we not getting any answers? I don't understand that. We are supposed to be the bosses, aren't we?
I have done a lot of research. Tracy Paparella, 56 Halsted. I've done a lot of research. I've looked at all of your budgets, your minutes, the missing minutes. The rec committee has not had any minutes on since January of 2018 or something ridiculous. Before that, there's 3 years missing. The rec supervisor, who is also your pool supervisor, very nice woman. I was looking forward to working with her since I was told I was working with her on January 7th. So this gentleman's comments about transparency, which you all had vowed to do, to keep in this town, there is no transparency. No questions are being answered. On January 7th, I was told that I was working with Michelle this summer for the swim team. So you did not make the decision last summer or last fall that you were closing the pool. You made the decision at the budget meeting after 30 minutes. There were 4 pages of documents that were given to the town council. 2 of them are bar graphs showing the depreciating membership, 104 members to 100 members. Another one is the revenue and the cost. And the last one, which you were told to ignore, is page 45 from your budget. In the budget, it shows that there was an increase in general maintenance of $13,000, almost $14,000 last summer. Not one question at the budget meeting asking, hey, what happened? Why did we spend so much money? What was going on at the pool? There was no discussion about the damages of the pool. You were shown the same pictures that I've seen, the same pictures that Vernon has seen, and you were told, oh, it's going to cost $250,000 to open this summer. Where's the estimate? I've asked for it. The public wants to know. We're here to get answers, and you're stonewalling us. I don't understand why. I had some prepared questions. I want to know, how long has the pool been drained? Has it been drained for 9 years? That's what I'm told. It's been drained for 9 years. If you drain a pool for 9 years, the plaster is going to dry out. The outside is going to damage the walls. you had a leak that cost a $25 part, and you drained the pool of hundreds, millions of gallons of water because it was not maintained properly, because you did not get the answers. I'm going to give you information. I'm going to give you the contact. I'll give you the estimate. But all you had to do was seek some answers. But you're not asking any questions. You did not ask questions at the budget hearing. Don't you want to know? You are our stewards of this town. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Russo? Any responses on? No. I think I have my notes. Councilwoman Diglio?
Yes, I do have some comments. First of all, I do ask questions, and if you were at the budget hearing, you would have known that I was asking questions because I saw the pool damage last year and I went to the pool this year. And that is why we're having a geo study, because I had my son, who happens to be a civil environmental engineer, look at the proposal. And he suggested the geo study to find out why the cracks are occurring in the same areas. I discussed it with Mr. Russo, and Mr. Russo agreed with that. So we are ordering the geo study. There's no sense spending money year after year after year fixing something that we're not sure why it keeps happening. So the geo study should give us a good indication as to what is happening underneath the pool itself. Yes, it may possibly or should be on slate, but that doesn't mean that there isn't damage coming in from water that comes off of 206 because you have a big slate hill there. Then it comes down, you have the car wash, and you have another building that has all asphalt driveway. Where is all that water going? That's what we need to find out, because that could be partially responsible. And as my son said, we need to find out, which the geo study will tell us, if we're dealing with uplift, settlement, or a combination of both. So yes, I have looked into it. I also found out that many things that were said were not totally correct. As far as Michelle and Brock, they are both certified to do their jobs that they're doing at the pool. I found out that Michelle called this particular company to find out about lifeguards, not about managing the pool, but technically to find out about lifeguards. Airmark Pools out of Sparta, they come in every year to open and close the pool. We did not always drain the pool, as has been said. A lot of the draining occurred through evaporation after the pool cover was put on, and many times that is what happened. Most important, we did do bonding, not bonding, but I said we have been fixing that pool. The maintenance has not gone undone. We have been fixing that pool, and we have to keep it up to standards because we have to pass health inspections every year for the pool. And every year we have passed those health inspections with flying colors. And as far as the roof, I believe someone said there's no leaking in the roof. Well, I would hate to tell them, but when I was standing in the human resource room, there was a flood coming down from the roof that wasn't supposed to be leaking. So there is leaking that's going on in the roof, and that is why we have to look at that. So basically, those are my comments.
Okay, Councilman Dixon.
Yeah, I wrote something a little earlier when I was thinking about the pool. The Newton Pool has provided memories to countless residents and visitors for decades, and I want the pool to continue to be a place where memories can be made for decades to come. That is why I feel it's best that we take a look at everything before we move forward. I've only been on the council since July. I've only been given the information I've had up until this point. I feel that I made my decision based on not only what's good for the future of the pool, so we could attack it the right way, but it's the responsible thing to do for all the taxpayers. I don't want to just throw money at a problem. I want to make sure it's done correctly. I can't speak to if mistakes have been done in the past. I don't know. I mean, we have all only been up here a certain amount of time. This pool's been here long before us. So, I mean, we can't really speak that. I certainly can't. I don't know. All I know is I want to do what's best going forward. So that's where I'm coming from. I think that it's better to identify them now rather than continue to repeat them, which, I mean, everybody else, I think, feels that way too. I do think that we need to wait and hear the results before we know how we can move forward, whether it's capital improvements, or I know there's been other discussions of partnerships, outsourcing, fundraising. But I think that we just, at this point, we need to figure out what's going on now and move forward.
Anything else?
And I just want to say that I think it's important that we try to remain positive and as a community and work together. Negativity is just going to be counterproductive. I understand being upset, but negativity is just going to be counterproductive. If anyone ever has any questions, I'm always willing to speak to anybody. Drop me an email. And if I have the answer, I'll give it to you. If not, I'll do the best I can to find out the answer.
Anything else? Deputy Mayor Flynn?
Well, all I have to say regarding the pool is that, there's no intention of anybody on the council at this point in time to close the pool in perpetuity whatsoever. The intention is to have the pool fixed. The way we've had it fixed over the past couple of years, because, it's, for lack of a better term, been done piecemeal rather than through a comprehensive understanding of what's going on, in the physics of the pool. I think we need to step back and reevaluate and get a sound understanding of what's going on, and then we can have better specifications, which will lead to better contractors to do the work. And if we don't have the right contractors to do the work, hopefully we can, bypass that contractor and go to the next of the bidding process. So, I think this needs to be done at this point in time in order to make the pool solvent for years to come. That's all.
Tom, any other comments?
Just for Peggy, the Thor Labs project's conventional taxation, and I was obviously at the planning board meeting. The water sewer issue was they were just verifying if there was capacity. We do have capacity, and they would be responsible for the connection fees. So financially, we would get the benefit of them doing the connection fees. So that was it.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would add is back on the meeting of February 25th, I thought it was pretty comprehensive in my comments, again referring to expenditures that have been made in the past on the pool, in addition to talking about the timeline being as aggressive as possible by awarding the contract so we can get the data that we need to make decisions going forward. I think as my other colleagues have said over the course of the last 3 or 4 meetings, and I'll reiterate, it's not the intention of this council to make any rash decisions and close the pool, definitely. It's about being presented with the situation at the budget meeting. That's the intent of the budget hearings. For those of you that have attended them in the past, there are a few in the audience that have attended them, presented on the budget, asked questions about the budget. That is the opportunity for the council to go page by page, line by line item, looking at the municipal budget, the water sewer budget, the capital improvement budget, making decisions, asking questions, looking at historical data, looking at the financial health of the organization with our auditors, that annual audit that's done on the town with our CFO, our department heads, our town manager, and all of the staff to make those decisions that we're entrusted to make when we take the oath to protect the taxpayers' expenditures on behalf of everyone that lives, works, and plays in the town of Newton. So I really don't have much to add beyond what I said at the February 25th meeting, and that at this point we need to wait for the data and the reports that are going to come back, and then we can make some decisions, which are going to be presented in public meeting with continued input from residents or anybody who wants to speak on those findings. So in terms of a transparent process, that's what we do. We have discussions and presentations and hearings all in public so that we can get feedback and input. And I hope that everyone will continue to recognize and remember that this council, good, bad, or indifferent, welcomes community interaction, people at meetings to make comments, provide information, and many times that is how not only this council council, but all of our boards and commissions find out information is by people coming and presenting issues, asking questions, or bringing up things that are going on in town. So that's the only other comments that I have to add with regard to that subject. Any other council and manager comments?
Not at this time.
All right, we have no executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:20.
I make a motion to adjourn at 8:20.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Councilman Dixon. The meeting is adjourned at 8:20 p.m. Thanks, Dan. We'll talk to you soon.